Hey friend, are you asking yourself, is this what I really want to be doing with my life? I don't think so. I think there's something else that I'm meant to be doing. Welcome to the Painting Your Path podcast, where we have real conversations about what it takes to step out, be bold, and do you. I'm your host, Clarissa Castillo-Ramsey. Let's dive in. Hey, welcome back to the show. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. I'm your host, Clarissa Castillo-Ramsey. Thanks so much for being here. And in case you're wondering, what's up with her voice? I'm working through an annoying vocal condition called spasmodic dysphonia. So bear with me as I continue dealing with it. It's just me today. And before I begin, I'd like to share 3 upcoming events. So if you're listening in real time, I'm doing an in-person art and nature exploratory watercolor session in Claremont, California at Buzzworthy Beverages on Saturday, March 14th. Give yourself the gift of self-care and play. The details are in the show notes. March 26th is Social Prescribing Day. It's a day to ask what matters to you. For me, that's art. I'm hosting a virtual Artful RX. It's my prescription for you to get creative. I'll hold the space, provide the tunes, and you bring your craft. We'll create in the comfort of our own homes, and there will be an optional share at the end. This event is free. If it speaks to you, check out the links in the show notes. And lastly, if you tuned in to my first episode of 2026 with Marika Anderson-Dam, we talked about doing a spring women's retreat. Well, the time is here. It's happening Saturday, April 11th from 2 to 6 at the Awareness Center in Pasadena, California. It's about the renewing energy of spring and blooming boldly into your vision. Details for that are also in the show notes. And on to our show. Spring is starting to show up here in Southern California. Can we talk about the weather? Oh my God, hot temps. It's supposed to be close to 100 this weekend. But here's what I like. Longer light in the evening. I'm starting to see flowers pushing through the branches. And every year I notice the same thing. Nature doesn't wait for perfect conditions. It doesn't hold a committee meeting about whether it's ready. It doesn't ask permission. When it's time, it begins. And lately, I've been thinking a lot about that. Because rebuilding, whether we're talking about homes, my Altadena community, or our own lives, rarely does it happen when everything is neat and tidy. It usually begins in the middle of the mess. And if you've been listening to this season, you know that this season's theme is all about rebuilding. Something I care deeply about right now. Rebuilding our communities after the fires. Rebuilding our sense of hope. Rebuilding parts of ourselves that got buried under exhaustion, worry and doubt. And this past week, I started the spring cohort of the Art of Becoming. And something really struck me in the conversations people shared about why they joined. Not polished answered, just pure honesty. One woman said something that really hit a chord with me. She said, I realized there was never going to be a perfect time or enough energy. There's so much happening in the world, so I stopped waiting and finally chose to focus on something that lights me up. I think a lot of people are quietly sitting with that same realization, waiting for things to calm down, waiting for more money to roll in, waiting for more time, more certainty. But sometimes the shift happens when you realize nothing outside of you is going to suddenly line up and say, okay, now it's safe to start. Another comment that stuck with me was this. Listening to what you said made it click for me. Sadly, I don't remember what I said, but nonetheless, this person shared, I'm the one who has to change something because waiting for things to change for me isn't working. And that's not blame, it's agency. There's a big difference between those two things. And another comment that felt so simple and so true. This person said, my happiest time is when I'm in my craft room, making something and getting it into that flow. That's when I'm calm and actually enjoy my life. Not when everything is solved. Not when she's finished her to-do list. When she's creating. That moment when your brain quiets down and your hands are doing something real. And I think many of us know that place. But we forgot how to make space for it. And one more comment. This person said, I realized I've been stalling. It's real being brave and pushing through that voice that says, who do you think you are? And that damn voice, almost everyone has it. The difference is not whether it shows up. The difference is whether you listen to it as the final authority or just background noise. And it's like I got one more reflection. This person said, I want to remember what it felt like when I was younger and believed things were possible. Life can make people jaded. You hear things like, be realistic, get a real job, be practical. And slowly that optimistic part of you gets quieter. But it doesn't disappear. It just waits. And after our first session together, one participant said something I loved. She said, I'm excited. It feels doable. Like I can take small steps instead of needing hours of free time or perfection before I begin. And honestly, I think that might be the most important mind shift of all. Because waiting for the perfect conditions to start something meaningful is a strategy that keeps people stuck for years. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is start small. So, as we move into spring, here's a question I've been sitting with. Actually, 2 questions. And I encourage you to take a moment with it too. So, what part of you is ready to come back to life right now? What part of you is ready to come back to life right now? And the second question, what bud of an idea has been sitting, waiting for you to water it? What bud of an idea has been sitting, waiting for you to water it? Not the version that has everything figured out, just the small beginning. The seed, maybe it's a creative idea. Maybe it's a conversation you've been avoiding. Maybe it's giving yourself permission to care about something again. Ooh, excuse my voice. Whatever it is, you don't have to solve the whole thing today. Just to notice. And if you're sitting and thinking, okay, maybe it's time for me too. The spring group for the Art of Becoming just started, but I'll be opening another cohort in May. If that feels like something you want to explore, you can join the waitlist. I'll put the link in the show notes. No pressure, just an option if you're feeling that nudge. So, as we close out today, spring reminds us that beginnings don't have to be dramatic. Most of the time, they're quiet. A small shift, a tiny decision, a little more courage than yesterday, and that's enough. And wherever you are in your own season of becoming, please know I'm rooting for you. And until next time, keep painting your path.
Thank you so much for staying till the very end. If you found this episode helpful, please share it with a friend. If you haven't had a chance yet, please write a review and rate the show. I would love to hear your feedback. And I also have a free resource guide for anybody who is asking themselves, am I on the right path for myself now? Or is there something else that I really want to do? Maybe you're in that quandary. Maybe you're wondering what's next. So head over to the show notes and you'll see my Painting Your Path framework guide. Download it and have some fun. Just start exploring. And thank you again for tuning in, and I will see you next week.